Draw simple, easy.
Hello there guys and girls, today we're going to be drawing a quick, simple, easy picture of Whitebeard from One Piece, one of the original Yonko. So go ahead and draw yourself a very small circle up towards the top middle part of your page. This will be the top part of Whitebeard's head. And the thing is, he's got such a big frame that his head is just tiny by comparison. So I've got the height of this circle in, I'll split it down the middle. I'm going to just imagine that this circle height is going to increase again or just double. So I'll go to around about here. And in fact, if I just imagine that distance, probably going to go even lower than that. We'll give him a longer face. And then just go ahead and halfway between the bottom of your circle and what is more than a circle's drop underneath, you can just go halfway and imagine this will be where his jawline is as well, where the cheekbones curve in. So go to the edge of your circle, sweep on out on either side, and then bring it back in from that marking point all the way back in round to the bottom. And this will be the very rough shape and design for his face. Now Whitebeard has a small black cap at the top, so split that circle in half, and then that top part can be the curve to which we're going to place his cap in, around about there, like so. And then we're going to fit all of the features in right into this top section here. So if I imagine that I've got this bottom quarter of the circle mapped out, all of his features are going to be in this gap, and the rest of it's going to be his great big moustache. So in the middle, I'm just going to have a point that goes straight down slightly over that line for his nose, and then he's got very small eyes in a very, very small head. So I'm going to just create a brow line that flicks up here, also flicks up over there. He has no eyebrows to speak of. Loads of different mark lines for the forehead I'm just going to put in there, and then we're just going to put in some very thin small eyes up here and up here, like so. And then imagine a circle drawn around these eyes. That's going to help us with all our creases and so on. Just going to make sure that's in focus. Lovely. And it's just going to be a few laughter lines around the eyes. Draw in the pupils ever so tiny there, so it doesn't need to be super accurate as long as it gets the idea across. And then just a bit of a line down there for the nose as well. I'm going to create a bit of a bump on either side of where the black cap is folded on over the head. And I'm going to just create some ear shapes that come in on either side as well. Again, you're not going to see most of that. So the main bit for Whitebeard, what he's famous for, is not a beard, but his great big moustache. And if you imagine, it's going to be a crescent moon, essentially. And it's going to come to around about here, about halfway up the height of his cap. If you imagine a line that goes across, that's roughly where things are going to swing up to. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn this round, just so that I can create a very nice gentle curve. And I'm going to start from this line. I'm going to curve all the way up to here. I'm going to do the same thing on this side as well, curve all the way back. Turning the page makes it a bit easier to draw curves like this. Curves that go away from the hand are easier to draw. And then, in terms of its thickness, we're going to go about halfway down this zone here, from the nose to our jaw moving line. So around about here is where we're just going to actually bring up another line, nice and thick, curves it off into that crescent shape and cuts off there. And again, curves all the way up and around to here. Let's turn this back around. Straight away, now that I've got the page back round, I can see it's a bit longer on the left than the right. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this line much further out there. Perfect. And then just rub out that little bit there. Excellent. Then we can get a few other last bits in for the face. His grin drops underneath the moustache. So I'm just getting in another curve just below that line. We get to fill that in full of teeth. Quick lines there. It's got another line just below, which is the bottom lip. So we follow that curve again. And then other than that, there's this whole kind of shape to the bottom part of the jaw. It's got these big filled in Marlon Brando jowls. So if you just imagine, we're going to come down here and just kind of bump up, create a marking line, and bump out and around. Just these two shapes here. Just copy that in. The jawline is obviously coming up there, nice and strong. And he's got a very, very strong, powerful chin as well. The ears, we can just get a tiny bit of detail in at the top, but that essentially covers most of it. Now the rest of it is his great big figure. So let's just get a centre line coming off of her face, all the way down to the bottom part of the page and just mark out a huge area, a really big one. We're going to basically go about the height of the head. If you imagine that head height going down one whole entire step, we'll make this the middle part of his chest. And if we half this distance, actually let's go a little bit more than half as we go back up. This will be about where the collarbone and everything meets him. So I'm just going to draw lines that come up towards the jaw like so. But really, from this part of the head, I'm just going to get in a great big kind of circular shape. Just coming around here like so. Probably going to do a similar thing round here like so. This is going to be the main bulk of his body. And where we've got these collarbone lines in, these are just going to go up towards the edge of the circle. And a slight rise like that. And where they come off the edge of the circle here, you just imagine a nice big circle coming off here, and another nice big circle coming off there. Now that we've got this mapped in, this collarbone is obviously the line that we're keeping, which is great. We've got the lines up to the neck here, and a couple more up on there. And then the rest of his chest fits in fairly nicely into this zone here. So it's going to drop down below this center line, just like this, sweeps off towards the end. Similar here, it's going to just drop down and sweep back in. And then the rest is going to be all the stomach shapes. So if you imagine that we're going to split this zone firstly with a gap around about here, just follow that curve to gap off a shape. And then we're going to split this other area into about 3 parts just by putting in 2 lines down there. And that's just going to be all the stomach muscles indicated by just these little drop curves here, just these little low V's, in and up, down and up again, and then a few lines all the way around the edge and so on, just to indicate all that shape of muscle. Cheeky nipple on the center line on either side there, and then as we follow the rowing of the stomach muscles, just a couple lines here and then here as well to indicate the rest of the muscles on this frame and his ribs as well. Excellent. Now, before we map out all his scars, let's get in the actual massive captain's jacket, his overcoat that he wears. So we're going to start up from around about here, where we've actually got his ears getting hidden behind the moustache. And we're going to just follow a line that curves down about halfway along this collarbone point. It's going to do the same thing on this side here, about halfway down. And then where it goes over the chest, it's going to just drop down a bit. And then it's just going to sweep all the way out, all the way off the frame like so. So same shape on this side, we're going to drop down for a bit, and then we're actually going to sweep all the way out like this. Lovely. Now the great big collar that he has is going to come out as far as these shoulder circles. So right up to here and right up to here, I'm going to, at this point again, just create a line that sweeps all the way out like so. And then I'm going to make it a little bit thick because there's going to be an edge and lip to this collar. And it's going to sweep in like this. And then once it gets in line with kind of this whole shape here, it's then actually just going to pretty much drop straight down. And I'm going to just give that another line here to show the thickness of that collar, where it drops straight down. And then the same on this side as well. So again, we're just sweeping out. I'm just going to use my arm at this angle just to get that sweep right all the way down to there. Drops down a bit because of some thickness. It then slowly makes its way back in and up. But once it's in line with here, really it's just dropping in. And again, apply some thickness by getting another line that matches that all the way out to the end. It just kind of cuts back in on the back edge just by drawing some little lines there as well. So we've got a lot of the main basics in so far. Let's continue the sweep of this coat. Now where this comes down, I've not met all the way in. Firstly, we're going to bump out and create a little corner square, just like so. To get that shape in, bumping out here, and then it's going to follow the rest of the flow all the way around, like so. Similar thing's going to happen on this side. As we get to about here, really we're going to bump out to create a square shape, which just goes on the outside edge of the big circle we've used for the body as your guiding point. And then it joins up here and is the line that goes all the way down there as well. And then the rest of the jacket, we've got the shoulder epaulets as well. So these will just be you imagine another line that above these shoulder circles sticks out to around about here, and we're just going to basically create a bar that sticks out here. It's a little bit lumpy, and just like the cut of the coat, we're going to go around the outside edge and give it a border in a very similar way. And then what we get to do is essentially from about here, just a little bit further out from here, we get to create or imagine a sweeping shape, but it's just going to go like this, sweeping out, and that's going to be all of the sort of sewn in stringy bits that hang off the coat. So I'm just going to draw loads of lines, doesn't have to be perfect, but sweep off round about here, and they all might stop at different points and be slightly different lengths, on some of them catching the wind and some hanging back and so on. But it gives you that idea, and then the rest of the jacket is just going to sweep off of the page really in this example, with I think some black buttons we might see down this side. Now a similar thing on this side then, so we're going to start from just above this shoulder shape, just below this line. We're going to go all the way out of a bar that sticks out further than the collar itself. Nice thick bar that just meets over everything to around about there. We're going to give it the border edge again, which comes up and back over the top like that. And using the shoulder circle as a bit of a guideline, we're going to sweep down past this corner just to create a shape that sort of curves up like so. And again, that's going to be the guide point for just putting in loads of different separate lines. And then the ends of this is probably going to be a little bit all over the place, like so. And that's great. Then again, just a couple lines down here off the edge of your page to mark where the jacket's just sitting on top of his frame and just sweeping off backwards. Maybe where we've got these buttons here, we'll have a couple loops here, really loose, slightly curved shapes. Just create a big box that sticks out here, and then a really small one inside to show it's a loop. Do that again around about here in line with the other button on the other side, get a small loop in there. And then where we've got the inside of this frame, this great big bulking part of the chest works out great. We're going to just create a bulge for the midriff down there. This bit works out great as well on the circle, but just bulge down there as well. And then we're just going to show the inside edge of its really big arms, one there, and again on this side as well, one arm down there. Maybe if you want just a tiny bit of line work to show some muscle on there. And then the last bits we need to do, just making sure that's all still nice and focused. The last bits are just to mark out his scarring, because this guy is an old boy and he's been through the wars a bit. So he's got a scar over on the way we look at it, the right side, the right pec. So if you just kind of draw a line in here and then make a small cross out of it, you can then just join that up by almost making it into a bit of a star shape with this scar. Out up here and back in up there. He then has one that crosses really jagged all the way down here. It starts from around about this point in the collarbone and goes right down across the very top of the abdomen. And that is much more of a spiky, ragged affair. So just zigzag and jag your way up to the top and then out again. Just create a very jagged line down there. And then he's got a kind of L-shaped crisscross scar section over here as well. So if you imagine a line goes down here on this pec, and then probably to there, it gets crossed with another one around about there, and then we just cross it off at the top and cross it off twice near the end, and again fill that into star shape. So just out and in, and then down for this part of the scar, cross, up and down, off to the point, just like this. Work all those shapes in, and then we just need a couple lines just to show the muscles of the chest, just pulling back over everything, and we're essentially done. So there you have it, a nice, quick, simple, easy picture of Whitebeard. There are a few other tiny things, like you do see a tiny bit of a pattern which you can draw almost as fish scales on the inside edge of his coat. So I don't know whether or not we'll use a very thick line for that, but we'll certainly just indicate what I'm talking about there. But other than that, I'm going to drop into some time lapse and put an inking layer on top, and you can see which bits we're keeping, which bits we're going to rub away. And I'll see you guys right at the end. Okay, and there we go. A nice, quick, simple, easy picture of Whitebeard from One Piece. When I scan this in, I'm going to use a standard creamy flesh tone for the main part of the body and arms. The scars are going to be a darker tone, however, and the inside trim of the jacket is a very dark red or rouge, whilst the outside is white, the moustache is white, and the rest of all of this trim will be in yellow or gold. I hope you guys have found this to be useful for getting your own drawings done. Don't forget to come and like my Facebook page if you want to submit your artwork, and we'll show it off to everybody if I like what you've got going on as well. And don't forget as well to subscribe to this channel, click like on this video, and come check out Patreon, where your support, those little donations, makes all of this possible, and of course you get loads of art rewards back as a thank you. All the links below, but otherwise you guys have a great week. Take care.